Hello again, residents of Burlington. I'm Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward, and welcome to yet another edition of Burlington Matters, where we bring together expert panelists and just all around good people to talk about what is going on in the city, answer your questions, and hopefully give you some information that's useful to you in your day-to-day life, particularly as we deal with ever-changing situation with COVID-19. So today we are going to talk about what it means to be in the red zone or red level, and what it means for recreation programming, what it means for Christmas coming up, what we can do, what we shouldn't do, what we can't do. And joining me again on the show today is Chris Glenn, who is our Director of Recreation Services here at the City of Burlington. And also joining us today is Denise Beard, who is our Manager of Community Development here at the City of Burlington. So we're going to get right to it. And but before we do, just a few things about the red level. These are decisions that are made by the province about whether to move a region into additional levels of restrictions and control. The next step on the journey would be lockdown. And of course, we know that there are some areas, Toronto and Peel, for example, right to the east of us, who are already in lockdown. But we are one step below. So many of our businesses and services are allowed to be open, but there are restrictions on gathering size and a whole host of other matters, which we are going to talk about. The decisions about moving between levels, green is the one you want to get to, and lockdown's the one you want to stay away from. It is based on health indicators, and it's based on public health units. So this is Halton region wide. It is not just for the city of Burlington. So with that preamble, and if you want to find out more about what red means and what our public health indicators are and why we were shifted into the red zone, we do meet the thresholds on a whole range of indicators. You can visit mariannemeadward.ca, and we have it all laid out there for you. But without further ado, now we will turn it over to our guests. And Chris, I'll start with you. What does red mean? And there were some even new changes announced earlier today. So what does it mean for our residents and recreation programming and services in the city?
Very good. Thank you for the question, Mayor. Pleasure to be here with you. I would have to say a word that we're used to now is the word pivot. As you outlined, we've had a number of things that we've had to adjust to. So I say that because our user groups have had to make adjustments, as have we, along the last little while here to make changes in their program offerings, etc. So as you know, we were in stage 2 for a period of time, which had certain opportunities for us. Then we had a bit of a modification. Now we're in red zone. So in the red zone, what we're able to do is we can have a maximum of 10 people per room that we are still able to provide that social distancing for. So the number may not be a full 10 indoor space, and for outdoor space, we can have 25. Maximum of 50 per facility is what we're working with right now. Now with the user groups, same thing applies. They'll still have to adhere to those with us for number of participants. What's in the mix right now as well is no games or scrimmages allowed at this point. You have to do practicing, and you still have to maintain the social distancing and no contact type of activities when you're doing sports, both indoor and outdoor. Spectators aren't allowed currently. You can bring a guardian, someone to help you get ready in order to participate in the activity. We do ask people to come what we call game ready. So for bringing your young skater to the rink, they're dressed, they're ready to go. We just need to put skates, a helmet, gloves, and stick in there, and they're off. So those are some of the things that have been changed for us in terms of the activities that we can provide. To repeat, we've got a lot of comprehensive procedures in place to make sure people are safe when they do come to participate. And they will have to screen when they come. So when they do arrive at the facility, we ask them to make sure they've gone through and done our e-screening online so we can confirm that to make sure everyone, when you do come, that you're safe in our facilities.
So when the announcement was made that actually changed the indoor gathering limits to 5, my understanding is that sports and recreation facilities or activities were exempt from that. That applied more to social sort of in-home gatherings of that nature. Is that correct?
That's our understanding as well. As for indoor kind of events or gatherings, I'll say, kind of scheduled type of activities, and they were decreased from 10 to 5. They did not impact the recreation opportunities. We were having a very close eye on that. We weren't sure if that would be applied because that would have been a change, but we've been told that it does not at this point. So that would be more for people that are doing the informal gatherings, I would suspect, is what they're looking to do.
Well, thank you for that. I did get some questions already this morning about, and over the weekend about what that meant. So good news for folks. And the 10, I would assume, is only participants, or does that include instructors and others that might be participating in the program? Is that 10 total?
We're going 10 participants is how we're interpreting it. So you can still have a coach or a staff member on site. If I give an example of the summer, they were very prescriptive when it came to camps. It was 10 total, 8 children and 2 staff. So at this point, we're interpreting it as 10 total, 10 participants, staff additional.
Well, that'll be good news for those who want to participate in the programming. Denise, let's talk about what's in your wheelhouse, the community development side of things. And you and your team have been working really hard to provide alternative programming for residents, virtual programming as well, even the funding that residents can apply for to run their own something in their neighborhood in a safe way. Talk to us about what you've been seeing and what's available to our residents if they don't feel comfortable coming in or they can't get in because of the limited space for some of the other programs.
Thanks for the question. There's so much that we're doing, and we're trying to get people active and motivated to do stuff, which is great. And we're hearing that from our residents. So we're constantly being asked, what can I do? Because people want to get out and get active. And so what we've done is launched the Community Support Fund, which has been wildly successful. Lots of people are picking it up. They are applying mainly in their neighborhoods, which is great because we want people to stay in place and recreate and socialize in place. And they're coming up with creative ways to, especially for the holiday season coming up, creative ways to engage and make it still really special for people. So a lot of neighborhoods are doing decorating contests. Who's got the brightest house? Who's got the most creative displays? They are doing virtual sing-songs. We're getting lots of great caroling happening in some way, shape, or form. We're seeing some artists doing some either performing arts or both singing and dancing online and sharing that out with the community. So there's lots of great ways people are taking advantage of the grant that we have out there. If people aren't aware, if you just go to the city's website and you type in Community Support Fund, you can see the application online, and we'll give you up to $5,000 to do something that will really motivate and bring people together and still celebrate in a respectful way that adheres to all the provincial guidelines. I do have to say though, as things have evolved over the season, we've had some people have to withdraw their applications because the numbers are getting a little smaller and they're having to really rethink about what they're going to offer. But we are still seeing lots of great ideas coming forward, and some of these carols that are coming forward, it's just been wonderful to see that people want to still get together, celebrate, and do something impactful moving forward. So it's awesome.
You could buy a lot of Christmas lights for $5,000.
Well, you can.
you could deck out a whole street.
Well, we may not support that piece, but we may support the gifts or the prizes that people are handing out. We might not give you the decoration money, but we will encourage you to decorate and then give you some prize money to do what you'd like to do and promote it in your neighborhood. So it's great. It's exciting. Yeah, it is great.
And Chris, we also are looking, by the time this airs, actually, a decision will be made at council about whether to offer additional relief for recreation programming. Talk to us about what's on the table and what the opportunities might be subject to a council vote, which you will know by the time
exactly.
you see this, but we don't know yet.
In terms of
what's up there?
support for our user groups. So certainly with the impact of the numbers of people that they can have in a program and the limited space that we're able to provide them, Council supported all of our user groups, but profit, nonprofit, anyone that used the facility, with a 25% reduction on rental rates to be able to support them, to be able to continue to provide the program and be able to be self-sufficient and be able to kind of weather the storm. So we did that we reopened really in the summer. So that was applied from, really call it June till end of year. So what you have before you this afternoon, and we can talk about it later in terms of the final result, are some choices for Council. As they wish to continue to provide a level of support for our community groups, understandably, you'll have a choice. You could carry on with the 25%, and we've given you a choice of what that could look like for the next 6 months, or you could even extrapolate that to the full year. And we've also looked at giving you a phased approach, so that we're on the assumption that we're going to see the vaccine and other things come into play, and we're going to start to see a phasing back to closer to normal. You have a choice that would say, for the winter season, a 20% reduction, and then a 15, and then a 10 over the course of the next summer seasons, and then ultimately coming back to regular rates, ideally next fall, when hopefully things will be back to closer to normal. And we've given you another choice, which is to look at a grant program. The first two are really just a generic type of an approach that we would apply. And then the third or fourth option actually is going to be around a more targeted grant program. So could we do something where people apply, they tell us what their situation is, and then based on that, we're able to support them at a certain level. So that's up for Council's consideration this afternoon as well. So we look forward to having that. And then we can communicate with our user groups as they plan for the winter program.
Well, we know how important it is. We've had long-standing partnerships with, I'll call them our third-party providers that provide recreational programming in our own facilities, and do it in a way that would probably be cost prohibitive for the city to do it when you look at the staffing or the expenses that would be required. So, but many of them, even if they're nonprofits, are really a business, and so looking at a way to kind of tide them through with reduced numbers in their programs where they can't quite meet the revenue picture that they used to be able to do, I think that's where Council is certainly at when we requested at least additional information so that we could consider some options to help out. And we know how important recreational programming is. One of the things that I found really interesting in a recent telephone town hall, we do a survey on all of our telephone town halls, and we get 2,000 plus people listening in, and they have a chance to do an online poll. And one of the questions is, do you feel comfortable with virtual meetings? The numbers are in the 90%. But the other question is, would you feel comfortable coming back to in person? And the numbers are almost that high, saying no. So it's so important for our community and the work that you're doing, both of you, to provide those alternative methods of getting out and stimulating yourself through recreation programming, through physical exercise. Denise, talk to us a little bit about the impact in the community on their mental health, and why it's so necessary to keep these programs running in a new way.
Yeah, great question. We have seen, and we work closely with the region, Halton region, which you referred to at the opening of the show, because they run the social and community services programs for the community. So we work really closely with them, as well as the police service. And the increase of mental health issues out there is enormous. We've never seen anything so high. People are really struggling mentally with how to manage isolation and or or physical distancing. And we know the importance of connection. And there's tons of research, and this is just sort of, I've heard a speaker the other day say, COVID's kind of exposed fault lines that we have in society and really blown them wide open. And one of the things that we've been hearing trends about recently is loneliness and the epidemic of loneliness. And they've done some research that says loneliness is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day to your physical health. And that's from a mental health standpoint, and it's coming out in your physical body now. And people are really, really struggling. We're seeing constant increases in calls both for the hospital, for police services, to help people out. So we're trying anything and everything we can to try to get people outside and somehow connected, both virtually, outside with spaces. Being outside we're far less risk when we're chatting with other people if we're outside. So that's one driver that you see us doing a lot of this year. We often, I have to say, as a recreation department, we often don't push a lot of outdoor activity in the winter. But this year, we're really doing a great job to push that message forward, get people outside. We have a Neighbourhood Rink program, which just got launched last week. And we've already got 8 applications in by now, which is amazing for us, given the climate in Burlington doesn't often allow for us to have natural rinks.
We're not cold enough.
It's not cold enough. It's not cold enough. It is maybe a little north of the QEW, but south of the QEW, it's really not cold enough for that. And it's a lot of work. Like these people who volunteer that say, I want to run a neighborhood rink, it is a lot of work. And all the kudos to them for doing it. The fact that 8 of them have stepped forward right now to say, I want to do that, is outstanding. It's just showing that people really want to do something and be active.
Just walk us through really quickly for the folks who may be watching, what's involved? If you apply, what do you have to commit to? What's the process?
Great question.
And is there a deadline coming up for when people can apply for this season?
Yeah, there is. So I'll start with the deadline. The deadline's December 2nd, so it's very quick.
Coming up.
But we were waiting for approval from committee before we launched the program, just to make sure everybody was okay that we're gonna still run the Neighborhood Rink program. Our staff, RPF staff, Roads Parks Maintenance staff, will set up the boards for somebody in their neighborhood, wherever the park is that they would like to have the neighborhood rink. And we also supply a tarp and a hose. And then what happens is the neighbor, their responsibility is to recruit at least 6 other neighbors that are willing to help sustain the rink, because we know it's a lot of work to build a natural ice rink. So as long as they have 6 other people on board with them, they apply on the city's website. Just type in neighborhood rink and you'll get the application and will come up. And then your job is, we'll send staff out to teach you how to build ice and maintain the ice. And then your responsibility throughout the winter is to keep flooding the ice with the water and shoveling it when you want to skate on it. So, and this year they'll also have some responsibilities around signage to make sure that we have some COVID-friendly signage up to remind people about the measures that are in place, and that may or may not evolve over the winter what the signage might say. So right now it will indicate that we need to have at least 2 to 3 meters between all skaters if you're not in the same household, and only have 25 people at the rink. So, but it is, I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's so much fun to get people together and gather, and we know people are just wanting to get outside and do something exciting this year.
Well, it's a true Canadian sport, right? The outdoor skating. I remember my dad, when we lived in Ottawa and Kingston, a little colder than we are here. It always worked. He flooded the backyard, and my brother and his friends would play hockey back there. I would practice my twirls, and that was normal. That was just what winter was for us. So I'm really excited to see the uptake. 8 neighborhoods. That's probably even a new record, I would think. I know we've had some in the past, but that's huge.
It's close. It is pretty, yeah, it's very big for us. There was a few years ago, I don't know if you recall, we had 2 winters that were freezing cold. That was probably our highest year because there was success there. People are like, oh yeah, that worked.
Right.
But I have to say, in the last 5 years, this is probably our highest number for sure.
That's awesome. So great to see partnerships with residents and them stepping up to do, obviously, as you said, a lot of the work. Chris, Christmas is coming.
It is.
And New Year's is coming. So tell us what Christmas is going to look like. Is Santa coming? What events might be happening or pivoting, as you said? What's in store in the next couple of weeks?
Christmas is coming, and the darker nights are as well. So we want to encourage people to get outside. So I'll just leverage the outdoor rink for a moment. Discovery Landing is also going to be opening up again for us to be able to have people down and enjoy that setting. You need to pre-register so you can go in. So a little note for folks. We want you to be able to register so we can control the number. So that will be available to us. We'll also have our drop-in skate programs, our other drop-in swims, those type of activities will continue as we head into the holiday season. You will have this afternoon at council, another one of these. You'll see a program we're suggesting that is a rental opportunity for people within your household to come and access facilities. So we're trying to stay within the requirements of our COVID restrictions, but open it up for families as well. So a different type of program there. And I think you alluded to Santa. So Santa is still coming. I continue to remind people we had to cancel a year ago because of weather. This year it's because of COVID, but he came last year, he's coming this year. So we have the Holiday Magic Trail that's coming to our town. And what that involves is we worked with our firefighter, our colleagues, and our police, and we're going to have an antique fire engine, and Santa will be on that, and he'll have a bit of an escort with our police services, and he'll be going through various communities over 5 days leading up to the holidays. I think it starts December, I want to say the 6th. I'll be close. And what we're going to do is we're going to advertise the neighborhoods, but we're going to be a bit sneaky or tricky. It'll be kind of like the ice cream man coming down your street. You're gonna get the bells ringing, the fire engines going as people come through your street. So you'll get a bit of notice to be able to come out and wave or say hello to Santa as he goes by. And the reason for that is we don't want people to stop. He doesn't want to stop or greet or gather or whatever. So he won't be taking letters and things like that, but he will be coming through our streets over the course of December. And we're really looking forward to that happening. And then there is story time with Santa as well, where we have an opportunity for people to sign on and listen to what stories that Santa wants to say. So he is definitely coming to town. And as we head into the new year, if you want me to go there, we'll still continue to have our outdoor activities that Denise was talking about and expanding that. And we are in the process of looking at what types of programming will we run in the winter. So we've had a very modest program in the fall with anticipation. We're anticipating similar into the winter months, but we are paying a bit of attention quite openly about what are the schools doing? Are they going to maintain their level of closure for holiday, or might they extend it or not? So we're waiting a little bit to see how that might unfold, because that may impact the timing of when we deliver programs. So overall, we're looking forward to the holiday season, and people can get out and be active and enjoy, and we do look forward to Santa.
Well, and there's, of course, the Festival of Lights is now set up, and that has been taking place, Denise, you probably know, for a couple of decades anyways, downtown in Spencer Smith Park. And they've also put some of the displays up Brant Street and throughout the downtown. So it's kind of a, you know, maybe a mini scavenger hunt to find your favorite display this year. And that's always been a COVID-friendly event, right? It's outside.
Absolutely.
And people walk by. So we're really thrilled to see that. And how long does that extend into the new year typically, Denise?
Generally, it will go until the schools go back in. So we'll probably, this year, schools anticipated to go back January 4th, I believe is the Monday. So it should go that long. Although it's up a little bit earlier this year. And I think we're working with our colleagues from Burlington Hydro that it may extend, because everybody needs some light right now. And it's funny that you brought that up, because I was going to mention that this morning. I was there on Saturday night with my family, and it was wonderful. Just watching the kids run around, looking at all the displays. Oh, such a magical night. Those lights just bring magic to me. And to keep that up during COVID as long as we can, I think is our goal right now.
Well, and you know, people are finding really creative ways to be outside, to be close by to each other without violating the 6-foot rule. About a week ago, I saw a group of seniors. They all had brought their own lawn chairs, sat in Spencer Smith Park. They were at least 10 or 12 feet, so extra cautious, but sitting in a circle, having the best time. And it just made my heart happy to see that they were all bundled up, because it was one of those cold days, but they found a way to be safe, to be outdoors, and still to get together in person, because there's really, there's really no replacement for that person-to-person contact. Even if you have to be at some distance from each other, you can still find that. So, that one of the key messages I know from you and your team and from the city is to try to find those creative ways. And some of the things we've already heard about on this show and previous shows is just how creative people are really being to find a way to satisfy that social instinct. We're social beings, and
Absolutely. And
so
actually we've chatted with the city of Edmonton, much colder climate there, and how they embrace winter. And I know it was new for us this year to have outdoor patios that maybe were extended into the winter months, but they embrace it in Edmonton. So I encourage residents, embrace it. Go to the outdoor patio, just bundle up, have a couple of beverages. You might warm you inside as well, and you're still socializing, but keeping the distance that we require to be safe. And there's lots of ways to do it. There's lots of ways to get outside. We just got to dress appropriately for it and embrace it.
Well, as my mom used to say, put on an extra sweater and a hat, bundle right up. But we're Canadians, and we've been lucky here in Burlington. We have the lake effect. So we have some of the best weather, which is what puts us, one of a number of things, puts us right at the top of best city in the country. So we can do this, we can sit outside, we can walk outside, and we can, we can continue to have similar, but not the same. So this is 28 days right now that we're in the red zone. It'll take us right till the end of the year. Chris, you had talked about what's coming. Will you be planning in a 3-month window the way your rec programs, or is this kind of month to month to see how it goes in 2021?
We're heading towards a combination. There's some that will be 3-month in nature, but most of them are probably in the neighborhood of 4 to 8 weeks, so that we're able to pivot and be nimble if we need to. We can easier to add on than it is to pull back. So we're going to be working in that type of a lens at this point in time as we carry forward.
Well, thank you both for being on the show. Stay tuned, residents. There's always something new every day, every week. And we wish you all the best for the holiday season. Merry Christmas, whatever holiday you are celebrating. Please be safe, be healthy. Thanks again to Chris Glenn and Denise Beard from our Recreation Services area. And that's another great show. Be safe and be well, everybody.